I am Svila Bekin, the rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell icon so you know when new videos drop. And let's talk again about Season 11 of Doctor Who. As you know, if you've seen any of my videos, I hated Season 11. I hated it with a passion. And no, not because the character was played by a woman. To recap, I was 100% on board when The Woman Who Fell to Earth debuted. I'll admit, I was nervous when Whittaker's casting was announced. Again, not because she's a woman. Gender swapping often does work fantastically. And it's a pretty interesting idea. It's a little bit overused right now, but it's an interesting idea. I think the time had really come for it to happen in Doctor Who. And it was organic to Doctor Who. It fits into the lore. Okay, I'm fine with it. I think it works better than it would work in James Bond, for example. Starbuck, though, in Battlestar Galactica, a great example of a gender swap character that worked wonderfully. More apt for this video, Missy. I think Michelle Gomez's portrayal was fantastic, and honestly, I think she had a pretty definitive take on the character. No, I was worried that this move was signaling a move to political correctness that was going to drive the show. But I said, no, don't be silly. Chris Chibnall is a seasoned professional. He wouldn't be so stupid as to throw away half his audience. I guess the egg's all over my face on that one. But as I said, when Woman Who Fell to Earth came out, I thought it was okay, you know, I was cautiously optimistic. Then we had The Ghost Monument, which was pretty darn good, with Whittaker convincing me that she was the Doctor throughout. And I think, unfortunately, that's the last time she really did. So yeah, everything was looking good then. Rosa was obviously an agenda-driven episode with a paper-thin villain, but it was exquisitely done, and it was kind of educational, and it taught me stuff, so okay, kudos. It was a good episode, I think. It was a worthwhile episode, at least. Then we had Arachnis in the UK, which was turgid. And if that's the reason I'm making this video now, because somebody on the official Doctor Who Facebook channel thought it was a good idea to put out a video of that. And it's probably one of the weakest episodes of Doctor Who ever, and one of the weakest hours of television ever. You know, this is not an episode you want to remind people of, the Doctor Who Facebook channel people. You want to sweep this one under the carpet. You don't want to remind us of there's really nothing to be proud of in that episode. Except, of course, for the spider effects. They were fantastic, but so painfully wasted on that dross. But for as much as I hated it in hindsight, I hadn't really formed my opinion on Season 11 yet. I was still on the fence. Anyone can have a duffer of an episode. Most of Capaldi's first season is pretty much unwatchable. I mean, you got about 5 good episodes in there, I would say. No, it was really the 5th week when this slow, awful, dawning realization started to come upon me of how bad Season 11 was. I guess the general audience also felt the same way at the same time, because that's when they started to hemorrhage viewers, when it became apparent how much political correctness was driving the show. So my question for this video is this. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with political correctness? There is a fantasy that proponents of political correctness and identity politics have, that if you don't share their outlook, it's because you hate people who are not like you and you want to see them pushed down. And that's just moronic and genuinely a fantasy. No. The problem is just that. Political correctness and identity politics is moronic. It's stupid. It's infantile. It requires you to judge people, which is always a bad idea, I think, but it requires you to judge them on the most superficial and two-dimensional level. It requires you seeing as these people as being good, no matter what. These people are always good if they're in that group, and it requires you as seeing these people as bad, no matter what the context or the nuance. They are always bad. But what it really, really does, it stops you thinking, which is why I think one of the main reasons that the proponents of this ideology hate conversation and dialogue and look to shut it down at any opportunity. And this brainless ideology runs through every pore of Season 11. Doctor Who has been many things, and it's often been bad. I mean, I've been a fan all my life. It's often been a bit bad, but it's never been, like, at its core, stupid. It's never been basic or unintelligent. Even at its worst, even when Bonnie Langford is aghast at a megabyte modem or the moon is revealed to be a giant egg, it's never been basic or stupid. You know, this is the show that had Tom Baker holding 2 strands of wire, about to destroy the Daleks, and asking himself, do I have the right? And analysing the morality of his actions. That's just so clever. You know, and that self-doubt gave him so much moral authority. And that's an authority that Jodie Whittaker's Doctor completely lacks by being so identity politics driven as she is. But these complex ideas of life and morality are beyond the proponents of political correctness. These are ideas that are beyond 128 characters. And that's saying else. The Doctor has never been stupid. You know, I thought it was a charming tease when she blew herself out the TARDIS at the end of Twice Upon a Time. But no, she's just a doofus. She's just a dummy. You know, that's what she's like. Capaldi's Doctor would have dealt with that tin pot Dalek between sips of tea while glowering around the TARDIS console. Whittaker's Doctor needed a busload of people and a microwave that she didn't even build. But of course, to the proponents of political correctness, I'm now a bigot. I'm a sexist because I'm criticising a show which has a main character as a woman, a female lead character. And women are one of these protected groups. And it's just a bigoted way to look at the world, I think. And it's being done in the name of anti-bigotry. It requires a breathtaking lack of awareness. And that's why these YouTube channels have blossomed in the last few months, I think. Nerdrotic, who's now my go-to fan commentary, just hit 80,000 subscribers. Because even the fan media is a monolith on this ideology, on this idiotic ideology, and en masse refuse to criticize Season 11, because to do so would be sexist. If something looks like a turd, and it smells like a turd, and you are resistant to say it's a turd, you've got to take a long, hard look at your life because you got something wrong. People have argued that the blame for the season really can't be placed on Whittaker, but more on Chris Chibnall, the showrunner. You know, he's the writer. And yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. But honestly, how could anyone at all have read these scripts and not seen how weak and two-dimensional they were? And I think the only way to overlook that and have that lack of awareness is if you're a part of this ideology of identity politics, which Whittaker clearly is. Her decision to not go back and watch older episodes dating back through the show's 55 years was just misguided. She clearly has no idea what this character is. Now, Matt Smith equally didn't have much of an idea who the character was, but he went back and he watched lots of old episodes. You know, you can see how much Patrick Troughton informs his portrayal. And I think that's the last time I think fandom was really unified on Doctor about how much they love Matt Smith's Doctor. I just think it takes an arrogant assumption of one's own constant rightness, which is another trait of people who subscribe to political correctness, to not go back and look at the past. So, I really should have been tipped off about the direction the season was going in when I saw Whittaker's costume. The LGBT flag on the front was a bit of a giveaway, wasn't it? But, you know, I just didn't want to think they're going to go that basic about things. And I'm hoping they were harkening back to Colin Baker's coat of many colours. But what were they saying with that outfit? What were they saying with that symbol on them? Are they saying that lesbian, gay and bi folks are people too? Okay, that'd be a bold statement. In 1973, in 2019, who has a problem with somebody's sexuality? Just to highlight this point, I am an Orthodox Jewish rabbi. I subscribe to an Old Testament Judeo-Christian model of morality, which quite unambiguously prohibits same-sex relations. But what these politically correct idiots don't understand is that's a personal morality guiding one's personal choices, which also includes being non-judgmental and non-hateful to people. People of my outlook can and do coexist with people who don't share my outlook. And that, I may say, is the greatness of the Western world, and one of the greatness I think we're in danger of losing. I think it's fair to say, I think we can all agree that Russell T Davies is not just one of the greatest Doctor Who writers of all time, but one of the greatest television writers of all time. His work is full of life and love and humanity, One of my favourite dramas in recent years was his very English scandal about the John Thorpe scandal, as it was back then, his closeted homosexuality. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. I can't recommend it highly enough. Because it was beautiful. It was genuinely beautiful. The characters in it were beautiful. Davis was able to carve them and make me love them, these characters. It moved me to tears in places. Now, according to the politically correct dolts, I should have hated it. I should have hated those characters because, you know, they don't share my outlook. They don't share my ideology in some small regard. But the truth is, they did. You know, the reason I did love them is because Davis writes human beings very accurately and very, very authentically. And every human is a bag of intelligence and feelings and thoughts and memories. Now, once you judge somebody based on one tiny thing, you know, like their skin color or their sexual orientation, you've lost so much. You don't see the person because all you're seeing is the cause. And we're all so much more than that. We're more than the person that we vote for once every 4 years. But, you know, that's who Whittaker's doctor is. She doesn't see people. She sees causes. And by doing so, she's both cruel and cowardly. Now, if you want to say that rainbow motif is showing a support for today's cause of the month, flavor du jour, transgenderism, and if you're watching this and transgendered, I want you to know, genuinely, I have no animosity towards you. I have no hatred towards you. Why would I? I'm happy to use whatever pronoun you want. I mean, I'm not going to use silly pronouns that don't exist, like thee and here. But, you know, if you want to be called a woman, I'll call you a woman. If you want to be called a man, I'll call you a man. You know, why wouldn't I? But here's what I can't do, and this is what I think you really want me to do. I can't believe you're a woman if you have a penis. I can't believe you're a man if you have a vagina. I'm not going to discriminate against you because of my beliefs are not like yours, but I can't believe what you believe. I can't believe sex is fluid because I don't think it is any more than age or height. And I can't do it because it's such a fundamental part of humanity and reality. It's one of the few areas where science and religion agree. And you know, science is pretty categoric about this. So it's an absurdity when Whittaker's doctor pontificates about how much he loves science. In a speech where she failed to convince me she authentically believed or even understood what she was saying, whilst wearing a giant anti-science banner on her chest. But, you know, that is one of the absurdities of 2019, where women are being forced out of women's sports because of transgenderism, where fully woke, politically correct comedians are being scolded for mentioning that a famous athlete who used to be a man is now a woman. Oh, and by the way, Caitlin, you know, darling, nobody wants to see you pose naked in Sports Illustrated. Just nobody wants to see that. Please, I'm begging you, please don't do that. But here's the truth, you know, no matter how politically correct you twist yourself into being, it's never going to be enough. It's never going to please these people because they don't want equality. They want supremacy. They want complete and total thought supremacy. They are fascists. And that is who Whittaker's doctor is. She's a fascist. And I can't think of anything that's more of an antithesis of what Doctor Who is. But let me know if you disagree. That's the wonder of social media for you. I am Svila Bekin, the rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe.